Hey everyone, I think we're live. This happened very quickly. Let me double check. But yep, it's Steve here again. This is why you want to subscribe because this can happen very, very quickly. Wow, looks like already a couple people are watching, but yes, sorry, I'm out of focus here. But anyhow, yeah, a few things have happened since yesterday at around 3 a.m. last night. Instructaboy got the OGL 1.0, as well as another streamer who also got the OGL, and they have been showing it. 10 car got it, and they did their shows. So I'm not even the first or even the second person to receive it, and they showed it out publicly. They put it on their streams and you were able to see it. But I checked with my lawyers, and it's now out there. It's publicly out there. I'm just giving you an easier way to find it and download it and see it. So, yep, I'm going to actually give you the OGL 1.1 shortly, where you can download it and read yourself. I double checked with a secondary source to make sure it was correct, and they actually double checked it. They said it's the same as the one they received. So I just wanted to make sure I had at least two sources that said it's the same thing. And again, this is not new news. This is not even me breaking it. This is something that's already been out there from two other streams that I'm aware of. It could even have more from all I know. And it broke last night around 3 a.m. And again, all the language pretty much matches everything we've been reporting to date. For those of you, real quick, on January 4th at 2:39 p.m., myself and Mark Seifter got the original leak of the OGL, and you can check out that video. We have a link below. And Alan, whoops, actually, I gave the wrong video. Well, anyhow, Alan Butchlow sat down with me, and he actually went through the contract of what they're able to enforce and not enforce, and I have the link for that video. And then yesterday, I felt pent up and wanted to discuss everything I knew, and I did a very long video. It was going to start off just being pretty short, but it was turned out to be 2.5 hours long. But just watch it at 2 times speed, trust me. And I go through what Wizard seems to try to be doing and how the OGL can't be enforced. And then Instructaboy and a few others got the OGL last night. I looked at it. I was able to get a copy as well. I showed it to a few other people. They confirmed it's correct. And so now we are going to release it to everyone. So here we go. So if you want to download it, just go to ogl.battlezoo.com, HTTP, not HTTPS, not HTTPS, that I got to fix right now, but just regular HTTP, ogl.battlezoo.com, and you too can see it. And in fact, here we go. Here is actually the text in its entirety. So once again, and if you want to ask questions and things like that, feel free. I'm going to actually go through it a bit. I don't want to do this for like 2 or 3 hours. I can probably go on. The long and the short is pretty much everything that's been leaked and been talked about is pretty much in the OGL. I've been posting little pieces of it here and there on Twitter, and other people have been posting it in their videos. And as you can see, it's exactly what I thought. It's the intro to the game license. There's a small FAQ section in the beginning that explains what commercial and non-commercial is. And then it goes through in the next sections. It goes through, and you can see it's broken up. There's the commercial and non-commercial versions of the OGL. So this is a non-commercial version, and this is the version that you would be using if you are not making money on your content. And there's basically 3 versions now. There's the content creator version, which is already public, and it goes through like your legal rights. It's actually, you don't get a lot. You don't really get a lot if you're doing content creation through their fan program. Then you have the non-commercial, and it goes through all the various works covered, and there's comments in this too. So some of the leaks and some of the wording, people have been like, it sounds weird, because they have both the contract and the OGL as well as actual comments in the actual document. So you can see how they sort of mixed it up here. And then they go through here, such as like the license. Most of this has actually been covered. Some of the other things that's in here that's kind of new is you indemnify them in court. So like if you get sued or Hasbro gets sued, you got to pay all their legal fees. They go through more specific like details as to donations, like if you get subscribers or patrons or how you get money, how that works. It has the warranties and disclaimers and other aspects, and it has a termination. I'm not going to go through this in detail. Pretty much everything has been gone through already in a lot of detail as to how, Wizards can modify this at will. They can sort of change it however they want and then just lock you out. They can change the royalty payments. It's pretty difficult. Oh, I actually see a formatting error. That needs to be fixed. But anyhow, here we go. You have all of this. There's the comments and termination clause. The one I wanted to actually show everyone, and if you go to, and again, if you want to download this yourself, ogl.battlezoo.com, not HTTPS, HTTP, because I got to get that set up and I just wanted to get this out as quickly as possible. By the way, you do things here. It's governed by the law of state of Washington. You waive your right to a jury. So that's something else. And then for commercial, hey, Zach collects the cards. Oh, he's right. It's right in the middle. I might get rid of that pop-up alert if it gets crazy. Oh, yeah, by the way, do like and subscribe to the channel. It has been exploding over the last couple of days. I know a lot of people don't know who the heck I am and who the heck Roll for Combat is, but we are in the role-playing space. We do actual plays. I have over 500 episodes, believe it or not, of actual play podcast that's been going on for over 5.5 years, and we mostly do Starfinder and Pathfinder, but we do release 5e material and actually have released several books that are both for 5e and Pathfinder. So that's who I am, and do like and subscribe. And we actually have a weekly show, and ours is mostly like a talk show. We interview people, and I forgot about that. I have a big announcement coming up real quick. I'll tell you about that in a second. I think everyone's going to want to see our show on Wednesday. Heck, I'll just say it now. So our big show on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have, let's see, I'm just making sure I have all the information. We have Ryan Dancy coming on the show. Ryan Dancy wrote the original OGL. He created it. So we're going to pick his brain and talk to him. So people like, where can you get it? Right here, you see that big, you see right at the bottom, it says http://ogl.battlezoo.com. That is where you download it from. Here, I'll start putting it in the chat so people know. ogl.battlezoo.com. Make sure I got all that. And again, not HTTPS. I got to fix that. That's a long story. So let me get that in the chat. There we go. So here's the one that's really nasty, or I felt was so freaking snarky. Leveling up under this agreement. So you get to level up based on your success. And you have the initiate tier, which is if you created less than $50,000, then you're initiate. If you create, I'll scroll that up a little bit higher. If you create 50,000 to 750,000, you're in the intermediate tier. And if you create at least 750,000, you're an expert. So they made it fun. They made it fun for you paying the money. And by the way, if you look here, their comments is why the tiers. For one thing, it's Dungeons and Dragons, and even our lore is play. It's possible we are not actually sure how to design something without some form of leveling up. But also, we're trying to minimize the burden as much as possible. And then, by the way, the last sentence is, if you're doing incredibly well, you might level up into a custom license. Really? So that's how they make it fun for you to pay them as you maybe you level up into various tiers of owing Hasbro money. Here's all the registration information and what tier you are, how you need to report all your income, everything you've been creating. I might, you know what, I'm going to just delay that pop-up just for now. Here's the payment tiers. They go through it extremely detailed, like how you pay 0% royalty, and then in the expert tier, you pay 25% royalty. And then they go through examples, and they even say how when the payments are due, how you have to pay them on time, how if you don't, you accrue interest of 1.5% per month. You if you underpay them by 10% or more, they'll come after you. And you need to keep your records for up to 3 years after, in case they want to come back and make sure that you paid them correctly. So there's a lot of information on that here. Let's see. They also have here under your entire campaign under stretch goals. Sure enough, there is an area in here about Kickstarter that if you do it on Kickstarter, you only owe 20% rather than 25%. And they have, you know, termination over here. By the way, this clause is the warranties and disclaimers. You will not do anything harmful. And you breach this term of this agreement. You cure within 30 days. And then there's comments. And here's the indemnify clause, is that if you get in legal trouble, you get them in legal trouble, you're going to indemnify Hasbro and pay all their legal fees. There's some things in here about products, disclaimers, miscellaneous, and so forth, and waiver to rights. So that is the entire agreement. The commercial, non-commercial are actually very similar. So it's actually more like, it's kind of one agreement, but as you can see, a large amount of this agreement isn't so much into protecting the works. A large amount of this agreement is registering your content and paying them and how you have to pay them. That's pretty much what everything is. Cheese of Ages, $5 says, I can't wait till we get to the line. Seeing pantomime isn't something you do under 1.1. Hasbro should have the right to sue D&D themed mimes. Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm not sure why they put pantomime. Everyone has been latching onto that as to what this is. Now, the good news is I've been hearing that they are behind the scenes looking to change this. So this probably will not be the final version. It was supposed to be the final version, and I know this was provided to people as a signable, executable contract from all the contacts I've been talking to. I also have been talking to contacts that have their own custom contracts, and in their custom contracts, and people I've been hearing, not just myself, but that they were getting less amounts, or they would get promotions and things like that, which is standard, of course, because if you're making more than $750,000, they probably want to work with you in some capacity, and maybe even keep you in business, because 25% is impossible. It's totally impossible. Someone asks, is non-commercial the new name for fan content policy? I don't know. That I don't know. So this is the whole document. This is actually the entire document that I was able to get in hold of. So there is one more things I wanted to go through here. Again, I don't want to keep this like too long. I don't even know how many people are watching. I haven't looked. What do we have? Oh my God, 560. All right. Again, if you have any questions, but you should probably take a look at this yourself and determine it yourself. So it has donations. It's basically going through here and trying to cover how it works in terms of what is money that you earn and what is not money that you earn. I did not check the number of words, if it was 9,000, but it's 15 pages and the original was 2. So this sounds like it's probably around 9,000. I didn't do a word count. You know what? I have it open though. Let me do a word count. I'm curious. It is 9,154 words. There you go. 9,000 words. So, what was I getting at? There's a couple here about the termination clause. Sorry, I wanted to show this to you. because they do have the part here. Here we go. January 13th. What if I don't like the terms and don't agree to the OGL commercial? That's fine. It just means you cannot earn income from any SRD-based D&D content you create on or after January 13th, 2023. By the way, that has been leaked quite a bit since this. This is not new. You'll need to either operate under the new OGL non-commercial or strike a custom direct deal with Wizards of the Coast for your project. But if you want to publish SRD based content on or after January 13th, 2023 and commercialize it, your only option is to agree to OGL commercial. Talk to your lawyers and watch my video where I talk to my lawyer. That is why they're trying to revoke OGL 1.0a and just say, yeah, it's not true. That's it. You can either use this or not work anymore. And, you have a Kickstarter that you need to get out in the next year. Well, you better agree to it, or I guess it's not coming out. That's what they're trying to do here. And again, I've said it before, it's not revocable. We are going to have Ryan Dancy on the show in 2 days, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go through it with him, and he's going to give his opinion as to what was happening, because he created the OGL, and he'll give us some insight to the history of the OGL and what happened with it. So make sure you check that out. I'll tell you right now, because who else knows more about it than the guy who literally created it? And I did link to some articles. Some people interviewed him back in 2000 on the Wayback Machine that was saying things like, "What is this? What's this open source?" Is only the first intro. Oh, my download. Let me look. My download should be... No, my download's the entire thing. If you download it, it's the whole PDF. I just went to the URL. It's the entire PDF. Now, people are saying it's just it's the thing. So anyhow, what I was saying is that he actually he was in interviews explaining this whole concept of open source and was going through and explaining how Linux works. And it's fascinating to actually see the behind the scenes of what he was thinking of when he created the OGL and how he really wanted this. And he's using examples like Linux of how he wanted this to be open source, and he wanted this to be something that anyone can use. Now, I don't even think anyone is arguing that. The whole thing is that this 1.1 is just trying to strike 1.0a, revoke it, just get rid of it, and just bye-bye, no more OGL. And you have to, according to this, they say you have two options. You can either not release your content and have people pay you money, or you have to agree to this on January 13th, 2023. That's it. Those are your options. And and by the way, when you agree to this, you agree that you're going to pay them, you're going to register, you won't sue them, you don't get a trial by jury, and there's a whole other things in here. So again, my legal team and lawyers have said quite a bit that this is not enforceable. So, but anyhow, so let's see. How is this going to affect print-on-demand books that have already been made? And how is this going to affect everything? Well, you can't sell them anymore. That's what it means. It means, what about already existing content? You can't sell it. You got to agree to this. Because if they invalidate 1.0a, and you have two options. You either accept this, and you now can continue to sell your content, or you can give it out for free as non-commercial. So that's it. Those are your options. And you have until Friday to do this. So, yeah. I don't see how this is possible. I mean, I have things I've been working on for years. That's no joke. That is covered under OGL 1.0a. Paizo has been working on things for 2 or 3 years down the road. Why can't they just you know, stop them from publishing and just say, oh yeah, all that stuff. By the way, oh yeah, so Dave Rosser asks, why 1.0a and not 1.0? 1.0, they just clarified a few things in 1.0a. Believe it or not, I think you still, according to the rules, you actually still could publish under 1.0, but it covers like very old versions of D&D, like 3.0, and no one publishes under that really. So in theory, you could really use it. But 1.0a has been around since the year 2000, and it's been there. So where can you find the new document? Everyone keeps asking. You see that big URL on the bottom? That's where you find it. So http://ogl.battlesy.com. So, and once again, check it out. And I'm reiterating that this has already been leaked by multiple websites and, sorry, multiple streams. It's already been out there. You can watch those streams. Instructaboy and Tensor have already shown it. They already read from it. I also got a copy, and all I did, and I just confirmed it with someone else who has a copy, who's been in private meetings and other people, and they confirmed it's correct. So there might be slightly different versions, because I do know people who are getting their own contracts and they have different terms. So theirs might be slightly different. Why am I spreading misinformation? I'm trying not to spread any misinformation whatsoever. And again, this is just the document itself. So, oh, there we go. So someone wrote about like how they clarified 1.0 and 1.0a is that they made a difference between trademarks and registered trademarks, things like that. So again, I haven't seen, I'm not sure what the difference was. And yeah, maybe 1.0 was a draft and then 1.0a was the one that was officially used. Everyone uses 1.0a. It's in every single book that is Pathfinder or D&D or D&D related. And if, again, I've said this before, that if you take one of your books and you want to see if the OGL's in it, just take out your book and scroll to the back and look to see if it has a page here. Oops, it's like open game. It's hard to say, but open game content, and it has all this copyright information. That will let you know if you have an OGL product and if your product will be affected by this. But so how is it really verified? It's verified that I had independent sources who have been presented this, and they said to me that this is what they had. And so I had 2 sources, plus it matches up everything that's been leaked so far and been gotten out so far. So this is out on the public. This is not something that is protected anymore, and I am not even the first person to release this. So you can take a look at the other streams I've been mentioning, because they also have been scrolling through and going through the document in detail. So I'm not the only one who is doing this. Now, again, this sounds, from what I've been hearing, is that they are looking to update this, which is good. And it looks like they're trying to adjust this. I don't know how much they will, because the 2 main things in this is to trying to revoke 1.0a, because, you know what, they can keep every single thing in here. And if you want to sign this as 1.1 and it allows you to, you know, pretty much use 6th edition Dungeons and Dragons, that's fine. There's nothing preventing you from doing that. And there's nothing preventing anyone from signing 1.1. And they can actually keep this or make it worse. They can put anything they want in it. The thing is, what they're really trying to do is that if they're making 6th edition backwards compatible with 5th edition, is that why would anyone move over? And this happened when they came out with 4th edition, is that when 4th edition came out, a lot of people went to 4th and they didn't like it, and they went right back to 3.5. And back then they had the GSL, which was extremely limiting, and people just kept creating 3.5 content to the point that, you know, Paizo was created. And Paizo made Pathfinder, which a lot of people call 3.75. and it continues to this day. And it's a company with 100+ employees. But the thing is, as big as Paizo is, it is a fraction of the size, a fraction of the size of Hasbro, and they're their biggest competitor. And even Critical Role does really, really well. They're still so small compared to Hasbro. Okay, it's such a tiny fraction, and it's been said in other streams that the $750,000, that's nothing. It's like, for a company that's trying to make a living off of this, that is such a small amount of money. That means you could have maybe one or two full-time employees and a couple of freelancers, and that's it. That's all you can have. And you'll never get to grow to the size of Paizo. It's impossible. Heck, if Paizo has to pay 20 or even 25% or even 15% of their revenue, they will not stay in business. I will say if they have to pay 10%, they won't stay in business, let alone maybe 5%. And it's just, it's not like these people make that much money. The margins are very slim. They have a lot of work on this, and it's just really, really, really tough to make a living in this. And if you have to start giving out percentages, and more importantly, according to this OGL 1.1, they can change the terms at any time. And so imagine you're doing really, really well, and then they own all your content. They can just decide, you know what, we changed the terms. Now you have to pay us 100% if you make more than $50,000. Oops, you went out of business? Sorry. Oh, we own everything. We're going to publish your stuff now too. I mean, what more can I say? By the way, do join the Open D&D website. I launched it yesterday during my little OGL 1.1 rant, and the website address is, let me get it for you guys in a sec. If someone has it, they can post it real quick. Sorry, this was done very quickly. I didn't even have time. I presented this for exactly, like 5 minutes before I did the stream. Here we go. OpenDND.games. I don't know if it's up yet because it's been slammed with signatures and slammed with support. So how do we fight back? By the way, so Randall Picard at $5 super chat. Has your lawyer confirmed if the changes to OGL FC bans making videos of Paizo or video games using OGL as a base hurting YouTubers? I am not a huge YouTuber, so I did not look into the YouTube monetization that closely yet. So I imagine a lot of people, especially YouTubers, are going to be downloading this and take a look at this. And by the way, I see people asking me questions. By the way, a lot of people are asking questions. I'm not trying to be nasty here, but if you do a super chat, I'll look at it right away because I'm getting slammed here. So no, unfortunately, he hasn't. I didn't have him look at it yet, but he's looking at it, and an IP lawyer is looking at it as well, and they're going to look at it. I'm curious, and we're just going to go through it for completion's sake, to make sure we look at every aspect of it. We'll even look into the pantomime. So I'm looking. We have a lot of questions here now starting to pop up. So, how secure are the emails on the website? I don't know what that means. Let's see. Rendering unpublishable. Any chance they will give Paizo a special deal? Yes. Yes. I guarantee they probably went to Paizo and gave them a special deal. A lot of the publishers that were larger than 750, like anyone who's making $1 million or $2 million, they got special deals from what I've heard. And they had like cross promotion with D&D. They had D&D and WotC helping them out. Won't get into the details, but they actually were working much closer to them, and they did act as partners. However, the issue is that these still had to sign the 1.1. So maybe you had a better deal. Maybe you only had to pay 15%. Maybe you had cross promotion with D&D Beyond and WotC and Hasbro, but you're still paying 15%. And the other good news about that is, and I don't know fully how it worked, but these were like 2 or 3 year deals, and I don't know if they were able to change them as quickly. So it was one of those, at least you were a little confident with a custom deal that you couldn't be put out of business right away. But those are only the people who got the custom deals. So there you go. So now it's starting to pick up steam because everyone's coming. Let's see how many people. 1,000 people. There we go. Everyone's waking up. So again, if you want to download it, it's that's the OpenDND.games. If you want to upload it, you can just go to http ogl.battlezoo.com. HTTPS does not work. I got to fix that. It's a long story, but anyhow, would you say this is going to hurt new creators and people starting in the space? Yeah. It's going to hurt everyone. It will not allow any company to get bigger going forward than 2 or 3 people. And that's it. You'll never be able to get more than, you'll never be able to make more than $750,000 more or less. The margins are at most 25% on these. And now you have to give all that money to Hasbro. So they're putting a ceiling on how much money you can make. And they're putting a ceiling on how much you are, how profitable and how successful you can be. You won't be able to become Cobalt Press. That will never happen again. You will never become Matt Mercer ever again. None of these will ever be able to happen again. And even if they said, okay, well, it's only 15%, you still won't be able to, because 15%, a lot of people do these on Kickstarter, and then, okay, well, you got to pay Kickstarter 5% plus another 2 or 3% to Stripe for their fees, and then you pay another 15%, and then you got to actually get it's like most Kickstarters barely make money or lose money. So Severin asked, who do we know exactly who bent the knee and accepted the gracious 1.1 offers instead of sticking up? I know no one who's accepted this. I know no one who has and by the way, if you go to OpenDND.games, that is the list of people who are decided not to actually, sign this deal. And it's going to affect DMs getting paid games. I'm not sure. I didn't look at it, but probably. By the way, here is a web archive where it's an interview with Wizards back on March 7th, 2004 that goes into detail of what the OGL is. And Cheese of Ages asks for $5 if Kickstarter funds count as revenue, would that mean that all sales after release are hit by 25% rather than starting revenue count over? Basically, the way it would work, according to what I've been reading, is that they just take it. So like they work with Kickstarter. Kickstarter said only 20%. So as soon as you get that revenue, I don't know if they get it right away and they just take it off the top, but it could be something as simple as, okay, I'm just going to use this for math's sake. You make $1 million on your Kickstarter. Okay, well, the $250,000 you made, they're just going to take 20% and give that to Hasbro, and you just don't have it. They might actually ask, you might get to keep it and then give that 20% to Hasbro. I don't know how it worked. And that is, you just lose it. The same way when I get paid by Kickstarter, the way it works is that, say you raise $300,000, you don't really get $300,000. You'll get maybe like 280,000, because then Kickstarter takes 5%, Stripe takes about 3%, and then also you lose usually like 1 to 3% of people's charges don't go through in their cards, so you only get those numbers of people, so that's all you get. And then as for the actual website, the OGL, let me double click and copy and paste that for everyone. So OGL.battlezoo.com. If you want to download it from now, once again, I'm not the first person to send this out or show this. This has been sent out and seen on multiple streams as of last night around 3 in the morning. A couple of people started to show this. So I am not the first one to actually get this out there, and it has been in the public for at least half a day as of now. So I've just decided a little cleaner way to get it out to everyone. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to do the stream, because at this point now all the speculation is pretty much gone. People really get to see what this is. And I know super long streams don't really well. I know, unfortunately, it's catch-22 because we got 1,100 people, 1,200 people watching, and I'm here to take some more questions. But it's it will be interesting because it looks like a lot of people, what they've been reporting, you know, over the last, what's it been, 5 days? It feels like 5 years, has been correct. And a lot of people have been holding their breaths. A lot of people I know in the industry are trying to just get their work done. And they're worried that if this comes to fruition, that we can't, you know, we can't actually get any work done, because what the heck are we going to do if this, you know, if we're forced to sign this? And if we don't sign it, then what? What are we going to do? So Stephanos, $5 says, is it's subject to change, right? That's what's stopping them from making it 50% for 1,000? Nothing. And they have a whole thing in there saying not only that you have to submit your projects for approval to D&D on their online portal. So they might not even approve you to do a project. So if they don't like you, they might not approve you, and then you'll never get to publish ever again. So there you go. So again, if you want to see some more information on this, you can see our original leak that we received on January 4th during our live weekly show. You can check that one out. There's a link below. And question, Hasbro would be asking, why would anyone sign this when you could just move to a non-OGL, create their own system entirely? I've covered that in yesterday's topic. That was yesterday's, is that what they can do is they can force companies like Foundry VTT who don't sign this to no longer allow any 1.0A content to be hosted on their platforms. Basically, any third-party tool system, if they don't sign 1.1, that they're not in compliance, and then they can't allow 1.0A content to appear on their platforms. So suddenly, if you wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition or Pathfinder or Starfinder on Foundry, they'll say, nope, you're not allowed to, because you did not sign the contract and you're in violation, because 1.0A is not valid anymore. Gelatinous GameCube, $5. That is a great name. Legal or not, will WotC recover from this PR disaster, and will drive Paizo to make PF2 and Starfinder 3.0? There's no OGL. I talked about that in yesterday's chat. It is possible that they could just, it's a lot of work, but they could make a new version of Pathfinder, a new version of Starfinder without the OGL. But the amount of work and effort and having to reprint, it's so much work. And what about all their past products? It's a nightmare. That's a nightmare scenario, and it can be done, but it's unbelievably hard. Chris Moore just tips $10. I don't know if you had a question, but thanks. Oh, right underneath it says the OGL 1.0 is used by Disney, Lord of the Rings, big game companies. What do you think the backlash will be from these big companies that refuse the 1.1? Yeah, I'm the one who made all those memes. So I'm the one who posted all those. They're going to probably get custom licenses. It really, I mean, if push comes to shove, there's no way. If you know, the Token Estate, who is supposed to be coming out with Lord of the Rings 5e like any day now, and you know that uses 1.0A, they'll probably either get in contact with Hasbro, nice or not nice, and they'll work out a deal. I guarantee it. David J, $10. Hello, sir. This is David Jarvis from Gunmetal Games Publishing. I'm new to the stream, but wondering if this license is retroactive. Thanks. They're trying to be. I went through that in quite a bit of detail in my, let me change that, in my, myself, and I sat down with Alan Bushlow, a contract lawyer, and according to everything that we've seen, the OGL 1.0A is not revocable. You cannot revoke 1.0A. You cannot just stop letting people use it. And I am going to have Ryan Dancy on the show on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, who created the OGL, and he's going to go through the whole history of it, and we're going to look into and talk to him about what he was thinking when he created it and what the intention of the OGL was. And by the way, Tenkar wrote and said it is in the wild and it is getting out there. So, yep. Again, is this the actual text of the license? Yes, this is the actual text. There is comments in there. I don't know if the actual comments would have been in the final version that would be released to the public. It would be in some format, because there would be, I don't even know if you need to include this in your books anymore, or there would probably be a smaller version, because this is 15 pages long. So, you don't need to include 15 pages. There would be sort of like a small version that says this work adheres to OGL 1.1. You can see this information, blah, blah, blah. Here it would be like a few paragraphs, but this is the contract version that you would have to sign. Cheats of Aegis is $5. You previously said there's plenty of cases in number one industries hitting something to tip them and falling down. So any odds that this is D&D's? Yeah, I've gone through that, how big companies get so big that they feel they're too big to fail. I don't know. The problem is that right now D&D makes so much money, is so big, that if we all disappeared, it probably wouldn't affect Dungeons and Dragons at all. That's it. Excuse me. That's it. We just wouldn't be affected. And the other thing is that keep in mind that they'll probably have short-term pain, but in the next, couple years, they'll never even remember that there were things like third-party publishers, or only things that were third-party is through the DMs Guild, or the only things that are third-party is through D&D Online, and that's it. So, that's the problem, and that's what everyone's trying to fight, because we can just all get wiped out, and that's it. We're gone. We're gone. So that's a real possibility, that they could just knock out all of these people. And like, this indirectly happened with Marvel, if you think about it, because Marvel used to publish comic books. Remember this thing called comic books? If you go to a kid nowadays and ask them, think about it, Avengers came out, what was it, like 15 years ago? 15 years. So there's kids now that have grown up with Marvel movies and Marvel properties, and they have no idea that they were comic books. None. They think that, these were just properties that exist and are owned by Marvel and are fun, movies. That could happen. That can happen where, okay, we don't have properties anymore. We don't have third-party content. You have D&D and just D&D, and that's it. And in, 10, 15 years, the Avengers came out in 2000. Oh, not the Avengers. Sorry, Iron Man. Sorry, Twincast. I meant Iron Man. I believe Iron Man came out in 2007. But the Avengers is still 10 years old. 12 years old. It's 2023. 12 years old. Okay? 11 years old. Sorry, math is not working today. Yeah, they actually do make comics, but if you ask any of my friends or kids if they read any of those, actually, don't ask my friends. They still read them. But you know what I'm getting at is that if you asked kids nowadays, they would not even know what things are out there. So again, if you want to download it, you can get it here. Again, I'm not the first one to break this. I'm not the one who put this out into the world. It's already been out on several streams as of yesterday. I'm at least the third person to send this out there. You could have easily just taken screenshots yourself of the streams and put this out there. I just did it easier for you. One thing I did do is I did verify this with someone else, at least one other person who received it, and they looked at it and said it's the same one that they had, who has been in negotiation. So I just want to make sure. So again, yeah, and one of the main reasons is that 1.1 exists is it looks like, basic to control and to get some earnings from people. Let's see, Lieutenant, I can't pronounce that, Oromov? CHS-10, is this the actual text of the license? The language sounds way too casual to be a legal document. As far as I know, that this is what was presented to them. And if you think that this is casual to be a legal document, I would ask you to take a look at the content creator license on the WotC website, which is a legal document, and it has snarky things in it like that they're going to release the Demigorgon on you. So this is kind of par for the course, and anything can be in a legal document. I mean, the same way, I don't know if you noticed, you can write a check on anything. If you wanted to take a t-shirt and make a check out on it, and you can bring that t-shirt to the bank, and they have to cash it. That is, those giant checks you see people have, they bring those giant checks. I used to work at a bank and bring them to that's a real check. Checks are anything. So you can put it in there if you want. Yeah, as someone wrote here, Overture Gaming, that style of language is quite typical for the FAQs, previous is licensed as well. There is two sections, keep in mind. There's the actual content for the OGL itself, and then there's the actual sections in here where they have what's called, I'm just looking for it, they call it comments, and the comments is them explaining this. And I would figure out that, that they can keep the comments in there, so they can actually keep it in there if they wanted to. And also, I would imagine what they were going to do was have a website. So you can go to the website and actually register for it. Let's see. Again, if you want to get it, and also do go to the Open D&D site. I don't know if it's still up right now. It was getting slammed before because it was so popular, but these are people who have signing to yep, this open letter is up. So you can sign and show your support for how many people who want to keep D&D open and keep 1.0a. And the whole thing, oh yeah, someone wrote, in theory you can have an IOU and a cocktail napkin and it'd be a legal document. Yeah, watch Glass Onion. Glass Onion is all about a legal document on a napkin, by the way. So there you go. Anyhow, it's actually not an IOU. It's something else. Anyhow, so yeah, the OpenDND.games, and the big issue with this is that you can just continue to publish under OGL 1.0a, and everything would be hunky-dory, everything would be fine, every single thing. I'd be able to keep coming out with books, everyone else would be able to keep coming out with books, and if D&D 6th edition is so freaking great, and maybe it is, you know what, I'll be honest, I saw that online tool, the 3D tool, and sure, there's probably going to be microtransactions to death, but I would love, I only play online. I've only been playing online with VTTs for about 11 years now. All my friends have moved all over the country. I play every single week, 2 days a week usually, online, and being able to play with like 3D graphics would be awesome. I would love that. I would love to have, the type of demos they were showing. I think that would be awesome. I would actually love to buy pre-made modules created in a 3D VTT. And it's easy to use, and it's fun, and it's just, it's just awesome. That would be great. I'd even pay for it. I'd have no problem paying for that. If they're going to come out with something that good, I would happily support it. No problem. Even the microtransactions. You have microtransactions? I don't love microtransactions, but I tell you, I'm playing Marvel Snap. I pay for those season passes every month because I love it. And I think they're doing a great job. I indirectly know the guy who actually made Marvel Snap. He's an ex-Blizzard guy who did Hearthstone. And I'm happy to support them because they do great work. And you know what? I want D&D to succeed. I've been playing D&D since the 70s. I love D&D. I love it to death. That's why this is important. I do not want D&D to die. I don't want Pathfinder to die. I don't want anyone else's third-party content to die. And the thing is, everyone is making money here, okay? Is Hasbro making all the monies? No, they're not making all the monies. Are they making just about all the monies? Yeah, they're making pretty much most of the money. Are they leaving maybe 5, maybe at most 10% of the money on the table? Possibly. But it's hard to say because Critical Role, yeah, they make millions of dollars in Critical Role. And yes, they have a contract with Amazon. But if Critical Role didn't exist, how much money would WotC have not gotten? Okay, it's impossible to say. There's no alternate universe that we can go and say, okay, D&D is this popular now, and if Critical Role didn't exist, it would be this popular. But in our universe, where Critical Role does exist, it's this popular. And all that difference is all that extra money they made. And that's the thing, is that the OGL 1.0A and people like myself actually help D&D. Okay? We are making people buy Dungeons and Dragons products. If you look at my back shelf here, I have every single WotC book ever made. I don't even play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition anymore. I still buy the books because I just like to read them. Okay? That is because I support role-playing games. And you know what? You go down this path, you kill this off. Worst comes to worst. All right, I guess I'll just play more video games and I'm going to play more board games. I mean, it would kill me, but I'll do it. Patrick Mullen, $9.99. Thank you. Very nice. And I like your icon a lot. As a GURPS and other system TT RPG player of long standing, I want to give a big I told you so for every time I was shouted down by self-interested 5e OGL creators when I recommended other systems. Hey man, I played GURPS. Man, wow, GURPS. I don't know how they came out with so many books. And I, by the way, am one of the biggest fans, I've said this in the past, Toon. I love Toon. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's one of my favorite games of all time. And I believe there was GURPS Toon, by the way. So, by the way, here we go. If you want to download it. Oh, Gelata's GameCube. Once again, thanks, man. I started GMing a 5e game recently. It's extremely disheartening. Are there any viable non-OGL TTP RPGs that are similar that I can move to? Okay, I don't know a whole bunch myself because if Derek's on the stream, he can. I believe the One Ring, which everyone says is freaking awesome and it's gorgeous, and they just released a new adventure. I'm 99% sure this is not OGL. And I don't know if does anyone know if the new Cyberpunk is OGL? There's a lot out there. There's a lot. The good news is there's a ton out there. I know a lot of people are changing their content right now. I don't see an OGL license in here, but this, I haven't played it yet, but everyone I know says it's fantastic. There is a lot of content out there I do know that does not use the OGL. I do not know it offhand. Luckily, we have like 1,000+ people in this chat. I'm sure people can start. How many people are here? Yeah, we got 1,200, 1,300 people. You can start ripping into it and start telling everyone. Bleeds in the Dark. Yep. Oh yeah, one is freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm actually very looking forward to playing it, and I was very excited because I like to run pre-run adventures myself, and I saw oh yeah, Cyberpunk's its own system. I used to play Paranoia, loved Paranoia back in the day. Traveler's great. Yeah, Cyberpunk Red, which just came out, supposed to be a lot of fun. That is not OGL, so there's a lot of non-OGL games out there. I'll tell you the problem. The problem is Dungeons and Dragons, the player's handbook, has been on the bestseller list of Amazon, the top 100 since it came out, from what I know. If it's not in 100, it's always up there. They make money, and unfortunately, if we all went away, it would be a blip on the radar, and that's it. John Harrison, $5. Thank you. I'm happy for D&D to die. BECMI was the pinnacle of the game, but I want every other TTRPG to succeed. I agree. Palladium, Fate System. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Savage Worlds. There's a lot out there. There's quite a bit. Hey, Jason, who's part of my part of Roll for Combat, he's like, a Toon one-shot. I might do a Toon one-shot. William Atkins, $5. If this does prove to be legal, which game system would you think moving to? I think you meant to wrote, if this proves to be lethal, which game system you think of moving to? I don't know. I play exclusively. I play Starfinder, I play Pathfinder, and I do play 5e once in a while. I used to play. Someone mentioned Vampire. I play Vampire quite a bit. I used to. I would probably right now. I'm playing a lot of legacy games. Like I'm playing Oathsworn, which is freaking fantastic, and it's pretty darn close. I might start going back into games like Oathsworn or games like Frosthaven, and sort of go a little bit outside of RPGs. I will probably try things like One Ring, because I hear it's really good, and I guess I'm going to have to start looking at new systems. Knights of Last Call. Hey, there we go. Savage Worlds, Cypher System, Worlds Without Any, yeah, all great game is simulation. I will probably go to Derek, who runs Knights of Last Call, and if you guys want to check out a great stream, he's awesome. He's a good friend. He and I talk like every day. It seems like he's been on my show a million times. Derek Melenda, from Knights of Last Call. Check him out. He goes through lots and lots of games that are not OGL. Oh, DCC and MCC. By the way, I think those are OGL. I used to run DCC tournaments for Gidman Games for years. I love the DCC. I love the MCC. I love Mutants. I love that one even more. That's basically like a science fiction game show, and it is awesome. I love running those. The problem with those is they're not good for long-term campaigns. I find that DCC and MCC are good for short, like one-offs, because they're brutal. They're incredibly brutal. They're very easy to die. It's fun in short bursts. It's not something I will do a whole campaign in personally. Let's see, the Dave. The problem that no one mentioned, if you don't put the 5e on cover of your book, you can expect to get 80% fewer sales. We need one unifying force. Yeah, you're correct. And that's one of the big things they say, is that if you sign 1.1, you get the ability to put the 1 D&D and 6th edition logo on your products. And that's not nothing. That's a big freaking deal. I used to work with Microsoft back in the 90s, and they used to say in private meetings that they can sell an empty box with the Microsoft logo and make millions of dollars. I remember that very clearly. And they weren't wrong, at least back then. Things have changed since then. But back in the 90s, they would say, yeah, we just put our logo and we'll make money. Brewer says for $2, this kills free online resources for games. Yes. One of the big things with the OGL 1.1, as you can see, is that it's trying to control tools and access. That's really the main aspect. And they probably want everyone to use their VTT. And as my lawyer pointed out, Alan Bushlow, the other day in our stream, he said it's very easy for them to succeed. If they come out with the best game system and the actual best VTT, everyone will use it. That's it. That's all they have to do. Mark wrote, Steven, I think it doesn't say you can put the one D&D logo on it in my read. You have to put a different. Okay, good point. So yeah, you have to put a content, like it would be something similar. So you wouldn't be the exact same logo. It would be like content created for one D&D, something like that. But it's the same effect. It's that you would have the official, logo for your content. So, and people are worried about like, well, what happens to things like Paizo and Pathfinder and Path Builder and all these other tools? They can go out of business if they don't agree to 1.1. And it's not like Path Builder makes that much money, and it's not like Hero Lab makes that much money, but they probably make enough that they'd have to start registering their products and reporting their income. And they're like, well, they don't make products. Those two things I just said. Well, Hero Lab does, but Path Builder, they make a product for Pathfinder. Yeah, but they use 1.0A, and now they have to move, because anything that uses 1.0A is affected. Anything that uses the OGL is affected. John Bonanza for $4.99. Hey, he said, we just did a Fate stream on the Knights of the Last Call channel if you're interested. So, yep, check it out. Knights of the Last Call. You could put a plug in there. Derek, I won't even say anything. You can, I won't block it or anything. So go crazy. Put that plug in there. How many people? I'm not even looking. But do like and subscribe. Yeah, 1,200. That's pretty good. Not as many as yesterday, but yesterday was in the middle of Sunday when no one was doing anything. This is in the middle of people trying to get work done. So, actually, someone said maybe Hasbro will just buy Paizo. That's the thing. They have a couple of options here. They can either try to enforce this 1.1. They can try to get a private individual contract with Paizo and have them sign their own contract, or they can try to buy Paizo outright. The problem is Lisa Stevens, who was the #1 employee at Wizards of the Coast, got a gargantuan payday when Wizards was bought out by Hasbro. So she got all of her money from Hasbro. Not all of her money, but most of her money from Hasbro. And she's very, very wealthy. I doubt severely that she and Vic would sell Paizo to Hasbro and WotC. They might, because it's a private company, maybe to save the employees. And maybe if they had a very good contract and buyout agreement. But I don't know. I don't know how that would happen. But yeah, if they did agree to this, they can then say to Hasbro can just say to Paizo, hey, we need 100% of your money. And sorry, well, you can't make that anymore. Well, good thing we own all of your content. So we are just going to start putting out Paizo content and World of Galarian ourselves. By the way, there's no way they're signing this. And this is a big deal. By the way, do like and subscribe if you want to show more. Hey, I didn't even like my own video. There we go. I like my own video. If you want to see the OGL in its entirety, you can go to this link. Hey, the Molly J, $10. Part of the issue is the ubiquity of D&D. Everyone can pick up basic rules and play for free. This is going to fracture the community and makes finding games much harder. That is the big problem. Yes and no. Like, you used to have to go to... Let me back up. Back in the 80s, Dungeons & Dragons was not the only game. There was a billion role-playing games back in the 80s, but they were the most popular. And if you got together with your friends and if you wanted to actually play a role-playing game, and there was 5 people there and 3 of them knew D&D and 1 new Traveler and 1 new GURPS, you're probably going to be playing D&D because everyone knew D&D. Everyone knew how to play it. And D&D just got popular because no one wants to learn new rules. And to this date, you know, D&D is the one. I have kids, and I have a lot of people who come to me and ask what they should buy their kids. And I always say, you should buy Pathfinder. But they usually say, no, I want to buy Dungeons and Dragons because they're the name recognition. They're the big person in the room. And Hasbro's aware of this. That's why they're coming out. That's why they spent $146 million to buy one D&D and one D&D, sorry, D&D Beyond, so that they can make their own VTT and that everyone has to go through them. They want to become like an Apple store, which makes sense. I mean, I would do too. Why wouldn't anyone? Up, Instructor Boy. What did you have to say, Instructor Boy? Hey, a guy doing by chats. Oh, hey, you have a guy going by Open D&D in your chats. Okay. So, just checking out. So, let's see. Everyone be civil, or I will ban you, by the way. John Harrison, $5. Can creators just agree to write for systems that don't use any WotC OGL? Starve 6, yes. I mean, anyone can write for anything, and anyone can publish anything. And Gelatinous GameCube for $5 for Amusement Overlord. What are the chances of class action for everyone using 1.0? Very good. There's a very, very, very good possibility of a class action lawsuit. I'll tell you that right now. The other thing I want to mention that's a big deal is that a lot of people, okay, Kickstarter's the most popular month and the best month to put out a Kickstarter is usually March, April, May, around there. That's usually the best time. So with that being said, a lot of people are working very hard on their upcoming Kickstarters. Every single one. They cannot suddenly have to switch over to 1.1 because they will make their money now, and maybe that Kickstarter gets, you know, fulfilled in 2024. I myself, I have a big Kickstarter launching tomorrow. We have Battlezoo Ancestry's Year of Monsters. I have Slimes launching where you can play a slime. And that I have to now, and I'm literally running that through all of 2023 and into 2024. I can't just switch over, okay? I have an entire year's worth of work ready to go. Okay, it's not all ready to go, but you know what I mean. I just can't switch over in 4 days notice to a brand new contract. Okay, I've been working on this for years. I've spent tens upon tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, this is not something I can just decide to change midstream. Night of Last Call for $20. LOL. Thanks, Steven. I just want to say that everyone, that I assure you that TTRPGs will find a way to survive. Maybe D20 goes away. There are a ton of games out there, and this will hopefully create a renaissance for new games. You're right, but then I'm not worried about TTRPGs. I'm worried about people who make a living off of this. I'm worried about people who try to, you know, just eke out a meager existence, that are just making content for the love of the game, and they make just enough to survive. You know, it's better than working at, I don't want to disparage anything. It's better than working at a fast food, you know, company, a restaurant. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I'm getting at. It's like, if you can make the same amount of money, that's why a lot of people stream. You can make pretty good money streaming. Well, maybe I'm not a great streamer, but I can make a decent living, at least enough to keep me clothed and in a home for doing, you know, content and coming out with custom races and custom classes, and have a Patreon, and it's enough, and I do videos. Well, this will stop you. Let's see, Nodak Dozer 666. Oh, and you're a supporter. Thank you. I'll always get yours first. Establishing a TR, stopping enforcement of OGL 1.1, keeping status quo until abdication, class action would spread defense costs. Yes. I actually talked to my lawyer, and he also said, because I was wondering, like, what is the chance of Hasbro just saying, oh, you didn't sign 1.1? They can still sue you, but they can't stop. It's going to take a lot of work, and it has to go through, I don't remember the exact terminology, forget him on the phone, but it has to go through 3 steps for you to stop selling and doing your current content. So that's the one good thing, is that you can't just stop you from creating your content right away, is that would have to go to court. So so let's see, we've got 1,300 people. Well, there's no reason to do any of this, because 1.0A should not be revocable, and it's been around for 23 years, and there's a lot of precedent. Once again, for Wednesday at 2 p.m., you want to subscribe, because I'm going to have the person who created the OGL way back when, Ryan Dancy, who's going to be on the show, and we're going to interview him. And he will, and you guys can ask questions too, and we can find out sorry, I just read what the OGL was supposed to do and what his intent was when he created it. Okay, so someone asked me, says, what about the elements of OGL 1.1 that seem in line with political agendas regarding the blocking content? So yeah, there is a lot of things in here saying that they're trying to prevent harassment, or they don't want, items that, hurt the brand. You're 100% right. So you know what you do? You take OGL 1.0A, you make small adjustments to it, and you add language stating which you're not allowed to do, and you make it 1.0B. There was nothing stopping them from doing that the last 23 years. If they were worried last year when NFTs were absolutely on fire, and if they were truly worried about a Dungeons & Dragons NFT coming out, they could have updated OGL at any time, and still can, and come out with 1.0B and say NFTs are not allowed, and they can say that. If they were worried about, certain imagery or certain, illegal acts being created for OGL content, you could have updated it, Hasbro or WotC, at any time. Anytime you could have done this. So you did not have to wait until now to do that. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this, because I do want to, because people are complaining my last stream was 2.5 hours long and no one wanted to watch that. So, oh, right. And they could have actually added, if they're really smart, if they're very, 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 very smart, if I was them, what I would have done, especially if I was planning this for years down the road, is I would have come out with a new version of 1.0B, and I would have made a very slight updates, a little bit of updates here and there. I would have put in the word revocable, or put in some language to make it revocable and updatable. And I'm sure people would have probably been in arms, but not to this level. And then, if they came out with 1.1, and if people were using 1.0B for a couple years, Hasbro probably would have had a pretty strong case if they did that, but they didn't. And they could have torn off the Band-Aid slow, or they could have torn it off fast. And they have decided to go as fast as possible and just take it all in one fell swoop. Anthony Peterson, $5. If one D&D becomes really popular, WotC may not even need to worry about OGL 1.0A, even if there's a new OGL D&D 5.5 who will play it. Again, that's the thing. It's like if D&D is so freaking popular, it's sort of like people who are still playing 3.5 or Pathfinder First Edition, okay? Of Pathfinder First Edition, or old content of like Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, or heck, even 4th Edition. You can play it. There's not a lot of people out there. There's not that many comparatively who could play it, but you still could, and you could still run it on your VTTs and do anything like that. But people moved over to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and people moved over to 5th Edition because it was better in a lot of people's opinions. A lot of people love 5th Edition. A lot of people, including myself, love Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's not that I didn't love Pathfinder 1st Edition, but I've been playing, I played 3.0 and then 3.5 and then Pathfinder 1st Edition, and after 15 plus years of playing 3.5, I was kind of sick of it, and I needed a new game system, and I saw it all and did it all, and I kind of played that game to death. I imagine in another 10 years I might get sick of Pathfinder 2nd, but it hasn't happened so far. I Cast Knife, $5. This is the final draft, the OGL 1.1, or is they just opening bid so that anything else they try won't seem as extreme? From what I understand, this was in executable contracts. I am not the only one to have said that publicly. You can see here that Griffin Saddlebag said a couple of days ago in a public tweet on January 7th that if Wizards D&D says that what we've seen of 1.1 is a draft, that's a lie. This document is sent around with contracts attached. So he has publicly stated this. So again, I'm trying, people are saying, oh, Steve, you're just spreading information and don't have anything to back it up. Everything I'm trying to say, if it's my opinion, I say it's my opinion. Otherwise, I have slides here ready to show you where I'm quoting and getting information from, as well as people I've been talking to, other sources. Jonas Wetz for 5 CHFs. I'm not sure what that is. OGL 1.1 only mentions SRD 5.1. Would this mean that Pathfinder would be pretty much safe since based on 3.x and Pathfinder 2nd 2e is not really based on any D&D SRD? I do not believe so, because it says that they revoke 1.0a and you have to use 1.1. So Pathfinder 2nd Edition is based on 1.0a, and therefore you can no longer use it, and therefore you'd have to move over to this. And if anything, they can use that to kill Pathfinder. Again, just kind of saying that. I don't know if they would, but the big issue is they're trying to just revoke 1.0a and not let people publish using it anymore ever again as of Friday. Richard Hooper, I'm one of those who despises Pathfinder 2nd Edition and 5e as well as 4th. I stuck to what I learned, and honestly, I want to see the regurgence of the Palladium systems. Hey man, yeah, everyone to their own. You know, there's a lot of people who play whatever they like. I don't care what you play. You know, if you love... Oh, I made the front page of Ian World again. Did I? Let me see. Oh boy. I didn't see that. Okay, well, yeah. Anyhow, well, someone had to do it. And again, I'm going to say it. I've said it more than once now. I am not the first or even the second person to put this out publicly. It's been out. It's been in several streams. They've shown it. It's been shared in public Discord channels. It was going to leak any minute now. A lot of people had it. A lot of people were sending it. You can share that link all over the place, wherever you want. And I spoke to my lawyer, and he said it's been out. It's in the public, and it's been shown in several other locations. One thing I did want to check is I did have some other people who have gotten the OGL 1.1 to confirm this is correct, and they did. And there you go. Now, once again, some people could have slightly different versions. There are custom contracts out there with different percentages of how much they have to pay Hasbro. They also have different terms of what things Hasbro will do for them in terms. Where's the link? The link is right here. It's, I moved it off the page. There we go. ogl.battlezoo.com. It's not HTTPS. It's just HTTP. And Necromancer, Garden Variety Necromancer. This is the most excited I've been about legal documents since the last time I ended up playing Ace Attorney against Asmodeus. God, I love Ace Attorney so much that I used it in my my thumbnail. So let's see. Yeah, a lot of people are worried, and they're saying things like, you know, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. I'm not a publisher. I don't play D&D. I don't even play OGL 1.1. I don't care. I play Blades in the Dark. You know, I play the One Ring. What do I care? You should care because they are going to try very, very hard to try to control all aspects of role playing games, have everyone use approved VTTs, approved online tool sets. And for whatever reason, if they become so big and such a monopoly that they can decide who is allowed to be on their tool set and who's not, they can just get rid of you. Oh my God, someone didn't subscribe for like more than 10 seconds. I thought it might be broken. What happened that Wachi's trying to reel in the big fish, and yeah, then they're trying to cut out the legs. This is not a bad strategy. The problem is they're doing it very quickly. If they did it slowly over time, then this might have worked a lot better. That is the one issue. Oh my God, is the actual pop-up working? Someone hasn't subscribed in less than like 20 or 30 seconds. I'm trying to look to see if I have anything else that's not one OGL. Or sorry, OGL 1.1. I unfortunately do not have a lot here, believe it or not. Exactly. Stefano says the way it's going to work is eventually it'll get back to you. And that's the thing. It's like this won't affect you directly, but in time it will. Richard Hopper. I like this streamer. Hi, I like you too. I don't know you, but thank you. Yes, they bashed us in the head and not boiled us in the water. You're right. They could have, the old frog, they could have very slowly been boiling us alive, and we probably wanted to notice, but they decided to just do it all in one fell swoop, and we all noticed. John Harrison, we must teach next generation that TTRPGs are not only cool if played with physical books around the table, teach them Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are pure evil. You know what? I don't actually think they're pure evil. That's the thing, okay? I know this is weird. Everyone's saying they're evil. They're evil. They're not. They're business, okay? And I hate to say this, but Hasbro and WotC, they don't make games. They make money. That is what they do. As a side benefit, they make games to make the money. And that's business, man. That's the American way. There's nothing wrong with that. That is what they do. And it's what's unfortunate is that most of the success of Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPGs has been a combination of the open game license, Kickstarter, Stranger Things, and Critical Role. And all of those combined have made Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games explode in these last couple of years. You add in the pandemic, and it just went gangbusters. Okay, it absolutely went gangbusters. We all need each other. And by them saying, okay, we did great, we're up to this point, thank you for coming, you can see yourselves out, we'll take it from here. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just usher everyone out and just keep the players they want in the system, in the game, and they will decide from now on who gets to play with their games and who gets to play with them. That's last call, $5. This is why you got to play more new games, Steven. Need more non-OGL in your life. I know. I am playing non-OGL. I'm playing Oathsworn. Okay, it's a board game, but it's really awesome, man. It's so much fun. I love it. And it's that's the time I have to play. Well, we're getting a lot of questions. Anyhow, I keep saying I'm going to end it, but I don't want to end it because so many people are watching. Let me know if you think I should end it or not. Yeah, that's the other thing is that there's no room for other games. There are rooms for other games, but none of them are really going to get that big. And if they control all the tools and they control the VTTs, how much will these other games grow? Okay, how will they be this big? What happens to Paizo now? Paizo probably goes to court because they are not going to sign this. And they are not going to pay a percentage of their money. Ryan Dancy is the father of the OGL. That's right. He will be on my show in 2 days. And I have to 100% confirm. Actually, my site does have an SSL certificate. It does. If you go to battlezoo.com, it's just this link. I couldn't get it to work. It was interfering with the store. So it actually does have just this link doesn't have a certificate, but it actually does. If you go to battlezoo.com, it's under SSL. So I couldn't get it to work just yet, but I'll get that working after the stream. I'll talk to my my engineers. So, oh yeah. So yeah, sorry. The beginning was me just going through some of the contract of the OGL and going through what was in there. Pretty much more or less everything has more or less been leaked. All the relevant paragraphs, nothing incredibly new has come out since then. So I didn't. You can take a look at it yourself. I decided it's kind of not necessary to go through this in detail, but I did want to at least answer questions and talk to people about this because it looks like a lot of people have the same questions over and over again. That's fine. I have no problem answering them because a lot of people, this is new to them. They probably have no idea what the OGL was. Probably people never even heard of any of this and weren't even aware that this is how games worked and that their favorite games were based on this. So that's something to keep in mind, is that why would anyone care about this? And that's why people are making such a stink. And they're, basically coming out and talking about this because it's extremely important for people to understand that your games that you maybe have been spending years on and you've been playing campaigns on might be using the OGL and could be affected. That's the last call. While I would lament the loss of D20, it's the implication, as you say, of muscling people out of the digital space industry that concerns me most. That's right. This is a way for them to become the top dog and stay the top dog. And they say it in the document that this was never intended. They say the OGL was never intended for competitors to be made. Really? Well, we're going to find out, because when I interview Ryan Dancy, I'm going to ask him, was that the intention? I'm going to ask him, what was the intention of the OGL? Because you made it. You wrote it. You designed it. Let's find out. We're going to find out on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern from the man himself who and what was supposed to be happening when the OGL was created. So, again, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do the stream because I do want to get lunch, and I have not made any work. I was going to say money. I have not made any work progress in the last couple of days, and I do have to get out my own product that comes out tomorrow. Battlezoo Ancestries, Year of Monsters, Slimes. If you want to play Slime, if you want to play a Mimic, you want to play a Doppelganger, you want to play an Oni, all that stuff, you can get that at battlezoo.com, and it's under Year of Monsters. It's for 5e. And by the way, those are like a 5e race. How big can it be? The 5e race, ours are 15, 16 pages. We do a ton of cool stuff with our races. Yeah, do hit subscribe. It looks like I'm not having trouble with that. Yeah, so some people are writing me privately and saying, yeah, it seems that the authorizing is somehow different than revoking, as well as perpetual. Again, I've talked to a lot of attorneys. I've talked to a lot of IP attorneys. I've talked to my friends who've been talking to their attorneys, and they all say the same thing, is that it's going to be very, very, very difficult for Hasbro, but not impossible, for them to revoke the 1.0A. They will have to show pretty much everything they've been saying. They have to go through and explain why they were okay with it for the last 23 years, that they were worried about things like, content that shouldn't be allowed, that why didn't they just update it with 1.0B? Why did they spring this on people with a week to sign it? Why did they give it to people on December 21st over a holiday weekend for them to look it over? That seems kind of predatory. That seems kind of a predatory practice. There's a lot of things they're going to have to answer in a court of law if this comes to that, and they'll have to defend it. And I'm not going to answer that. Cheese of Ages, $5. Here's so much money for the drink or your lunch. Thank you. I actually have a drink. Yesterday I was too thirsty, and I actually were talking so much that I couldn't talk anymore. I had to get a drink. Waters left. $5. Thank you for addressing the whole issue so swiftly. It's been reassuring. I'm getting the word out. Right place at the right time. That's all I could say. I mean, we got the original link way back, a full 5 days ago, 5 full days ago. We got the original leak, or 6 days. I don't even remember. And since then I've been on top of it only because I was very concerned because I have a lot of things coming up. Next to last call, $5. I think that we could all agree that even if we win, we all essentially lose. Goofy G E3K, $5. So is there anything stopping someone from releasing a D20 framework that is 5e compatible, that uses none of the OGL stuff for people to use? Yes, a lot of people have been talking about that. Mark Seifter and I have been talking about that. Is could you rewrite Dungeons and Dragons in such a way that it doesn't use any terminology like magic missile or gelatinous cube and so forth, and make a game that's very similar, if not identical? And the answer is yeah, you can. It can be done. Mark can talk to this more than I can. That's what he does. Director of game design. He wrote the original Pathfinder rule set, or one of the 2 people who wrote it. He works for me. He's not on the stream, but he is in the chat. And he has written multiple game systems. It can be done. It can be created. But the problem is, lots of people do that already. I'm going to say, I keep pulling it up just because it's near me and I don't have anything else. You know what? I'm going to pull one up. Okay, the One Ring doesn't. Here, I'm going to plug Ian World. Okay, Ian World, here you go, buddy. Level Up. Okay, Level Up came out, Ian Publishing, and they are basically what Pathfinder is to 3rd edition is what Level Up is for 5e. So they basically took 5e and improved upon it. However, I'm just going to take a look. Yep, they used the license agreement. They used the 1.0a, so Level Up is unfortunately uses 1.0a, and they would be also affected by this. But if you wanted to use something that's very similar and been, quote, improved, you can, and by using the Level Up system by Ian World. So that is something I would recommend you check out. I've actually not played it, but I've read it. I have all the books, and half the writers for Level Up write for me as well, and actually created a lot of the 5e content we work on. So there you go. One of the 2 people who made Pathfinder effing what? Yes, there's actually, was it Logan Bonner and Mark Seifter were the 2 architects of Pathfinder 2nd edition rule set. There were 2 other people, but they were the pretty much, and Mark Seifter works for me now full time. He's my director of game design, and he's been at Roll for Combat for about a year now. He's the one who actually broke the story with me, last Tuesday. So, go back to the Open D&D. Again, do check out the Open D&D. That's where everyone is signing up. You got Open D&D. And Mark just needs to accept he's the Michael Jordan of game design. Man, Mark, you got to accept it. Mark is incredibly humble, and whenever we mention that he creates it, he's the first one to say, I didn't create it, I created with 10 other people. And he did, but he wrote a lot of it. So yeah, that's something else to keep in mind. So, yes, Richard Hopper. Do I have one of the Pathfinder's creators? Yes. Yes. The people like, who the hell are this guy, Steve Glicker? Who the heck is Roll for Combat? Every single book that I have published has been either written by someone who works at Paizo or at WotC or Ian World. Every single person except for me. I'm the only one who hasn't. But yes, every book we have has been written by someone in connected to those industries. So yes, so if you want to talk to Mark and say hi to him, we're going to be If you want to say hi to Mark, you can on Wednesday. Or if you go to our Discord channel, you can say hi to him there. Just go to discord.rollforcombat.com and you can say hi to Mark. He's on there all the time. Or you can go to his channel at, I forgot your channel, Mark, so just type it in there. Jeremy McCutcheon, $4.99. How does not fall under monopoly laws? And thanks for the help change, get the information out there. I don't know. I don't know law well enough. I don't believe it's a monopoly because to them, they're saying people are going to be voluntarily signing up for parts of these systems. So it's not monopoly. Right. If you're getting cert errors, it's because you have to do HTTP, not HTTPS. So that's why I just have to fix the HTTPS one. That's all. Sorry about that. I got it up quick and I forgot about that. Who's Roll for Combat? The only company to get a good monster review from Knights of Last Call. That's right. We got 5 stars. We got a A+. No one. Nobody gets good reviews from Knights of Last Call, and that's how I actually met them, because everyone was so shocked at them liking our books so much. So there you go. And so yeah, again, it's without the HTTPS. I know it probably autocorrects. That's why I keep typing in the link. Just click on the link; it'll get you there. So I got to fix the redirect. Let's see. Understand to believe that blah blah blah. Ratings from Nebraska. Yeah, we got a lot of people. Yeah, Arcane Mark is the name of his show, and Mark's thing. So we're kind of running out of steam here. It looks like. I know people are still asking me questions. I'm gonna do another one of these. We're gonna be back on Wednesday at 2 p.m. We're gonna be talking with the architect of OGL. And you'll be able to ask questions to Ryan Dancy then. We'll go through the whole history, what his thoughts were, why he created it, and hopefully, we'll get an answer for the intention of the OGL from the man who created it. So make sure you check that out. Do subscribe, do like, so that you're alerted whenever I do this, because I might do this with little to no warning, as you might notice. And thanks again to Molly J. $5 and not a monopoly, but might fall under anti-competitive practices. Please fix the sound. What sound? My sound? Lars? Are you talking about me, or are you talking about the pop-up? I don't know which one. I gotta make our sound a little better. I need someone who's a sound engineer. If anyone is really good with video, because video is not my forte, please hit me up and help me. So yeah, I'd be happy to have all my video like fine-tuned to a fine-tooth comb, but I'm not like a super video person. I'm good at audio for podcasts, and I'm good at everything else. I did talk to some people and I tried to make it bassy and make it more of a radio voice. So if it sounds a little weird, that's what we're trying to go for. And if I sound odd, I'm sorry about that. I am trying to make it sound pretty cool. So anyhow, I do want to get some lunch, and it does look like we're winding down, but get the word out. Make sure you download the OGL. Make sure you sign up and sign the petition at Open D&D Games, and I will probably be talking to you. If you want to talk to me directly, you can hit me up on Discord. Just go to discord.rollforcombat.com. I'm there all the time. And if you want to talk to Mark, he's on there as well. If you want to say good job on doing Pathfinder, he'll take it. And otherwise, I will be talking to everyone, I'm sure, in a very short